All right, if you're looking for opportunities to either start a startup or invest in startups, you need to be taking a look at Latin America. Hey guys, hey founders, thanks so much for joining me. Today I'm going to talk to you about a report I recently read. It's by Atlantico, it's a venture capital firm, and they just released, I think it's an annual report, but it is the digital report for Latin America. And the facts and key takeaways that I took from that digital report, I went through it, pulled out all the things that seemed really interesting to me. Before I share those with you, I want to tell you what I sort of took away at a summary level from that report. And that is really simple, is that Latin America is a great place, has a great startup ecosystem. They certainly have some challenges that I'm going to talk about in my key takeaways, but there is a lot, when there are lots of challenges, that creates lots of opportunity. And I think as a startup that's launching and looking for markets to penetrate, you should be thinking about the opportunity that awaits you in Latin America if you feel like the risks that are associated with that can be offset. So I want you to be thinking about Latin America. Also, as someone, as an investor, is there an opportunity for you to do some investing in Latin America that you could really benefit from? So let me run you through some of the key takeaways from the Atlantico digital report. I'll link to it in the description. If you want to see it yourself, I highly recommend taking a look at it. It has a wealth of information for you and how you think about the opportunity in Latin America. Let me share with you. Looks like I've probably got somewhere around 10 to 12 different key takeaways that I want you to think about. So first, just starting with the idea of the scope and size of Latin America, it's important to note that Latin America holds 8% of the world's population. Now, it has a little bit of an offset in terms of global GDP. So it's got 8% of the world's population, but it only accounts for 5% of the global gross domestic production. So only 5%. Now, this was one of the first things that I saw. It's actually on slide 21, if you want to go find it yourself. It's one of the first things I saw that shocked me about Latin America and made me quickly start thinking about the opportunity down there. So Latin America happens to have globally the heaviest amount of usage of the internet. Now, that's really important to think about. So it's not America. It's not even China. Latin America has the heaviest usage of the internet. So that's really something to think about when you're thinking about, could you start a business that sort of serves people down there in Latin America with their need? Some challenges ahead for Latin America. About 20% of people are below the poverty line. So if you have a solution and you're pricing it, you're going to want to keep that in mind. Discretionary income is not quite what it is going to be in other areas. The report also called out 3 really important things, one of which is poverty, but 2 new things to think about when you're thinking about launching a business or investing in Latin American countries. The 3 biggest challenges they called out were poverty was number 1. Inequality was really big as well. So gender inequality, we're having that in lots of places. The United States is going through some of that and has been for a long time, obviously, but apparently it's a big issue in Latin America as well. Then the third thing to really be mindful of, and this is one of the risks that I've called out in the past video for you before, is the political environment in Latin American countries. You can imagine some of those countries have very tough political environments. And so you need to be mindful of that and how that could impact you doing business down there. Latin America has been hit pretty hard by COVID, right? So they actually have the 2nd highest death count, and it's the 3rd highest death count as a percentage of population. So they've been hit really hard. I imagine that could be because they didn't get as quick access to vaccines as some of the other developed countries. So it's been hit really hard by COVID. Here's a slide that really caught my attention. Slide 23. The number of venture capital deals is up significantly, and not just the number of deals, but the amount of money that's flowing into Latin America has been going up significantly. As a matter of fact, to my next takeaway, China recognizes the opportunity in Latin America. Now, one of the ways the report calls this out is that China has chosen to play a significant role in the delivery of vaccines in those countries. I'm sure they're being humanitarian to some degree, but I'm also sure that that's creating influence for them because they clearly see the opportunity in Latin American countries. I don't have any stats on this, but I do seem to remember I found lots of stats about China investing huge dollars in Latin American countries. So clearly China sees the opportunity there. If that's the case and you think that they are smart with their investment dollars, you might want to think about what the opportunity is for you. The food sector is particularly big in Latin America. In fact, the report calls out delivery is really big in Latin America. So the DoorDashes of the world, those types of business models seem to be really big in Latin America and have seen a good amount of uptick in usage, Uber Eats, that type of stuff. Here's another, and it ties back to Latin America being the heaviest usage of the internet. Here's another key takeaway that sort of blew me away. Think about this particularly if you are going to be around or in the social media space. Latin America is the #1 adopter of social media platforms in the world. Okay, now that is really, really big, particularly if you're planning on being in that space, leveraging that space, whatever it may be. Because they're the #1 adopter of social media platforms, the creator class in Latin America is really, really powerful. As a matter of fact, the creator group helps with the promotion of products. So what I mean by that is the report called out that Latin American influencers have created the highest amount of adoption of promoted products. So if I were an influencer in Latin America and I were promoting this microphone to you guys, you could see as compared to my US counterparts or even the Chinese counterparts, that adoption of buying this microphone because I'm a influencer and promoted it is higher in Latin America. So if you're planning on maybe advertising through influencers, maybe that's a great model for you to do in Latin America. The lifestyle and beauty space in particular, when it comes to creators and influencers, dominates down there. So again, the things that I'm sharing with you, you should be thinking about how they relate to investment opportunities or how they relate to your business opportunities that you're thinking about. The #1 model for monetization, and I mean more than double the next closest model, is sponsored content for influencers. So they tend to get a lot of sponsorships, and that is how they are monetizing. That was 55%. Compared to the next closest channel of monetization was only 20%. So a big leap between second and first place. Lots of monetization happening via sponsored content. And here's a really, really interesting one that hits close at home for me, since I am in the fintech space. Fintech, so financial technology solutions, attracted 40% of all investments in 2021. Now just think about that for a minute. When it comes to investment dollars, out of 100, $40 always goes toward a fintech. So if you're a fintech solution and you're looking to launch, could Latin America, one of those countries, some of those countries, be a great place for you to launch, because investors are used to putting a fair chunk of available dollars into fintech companies. And then I've got two more that kind of go together for you to think about in terms of opportunities. Latin America seems to be very environmentally focused right now. The report called that out, so much so that what they called aquaculture, and they pointed out that fish hatchery production has grown 8% year over year. So as a sustainable food source, food hatcheries have become really, really important for Latin American startups and Latin American business. Sustainable food, environmentalism. These are all things that you should be thinking about as you're launching your business. I encourage you to go back, watch the video again if you think you're going to play in that space, or any of these key takeaways I have mentioned, if they hit home for you, really think about how you could leverage those. Maybe if you're a fintech, instead of launching in the United States, you think about, could I launch in Latin America, because they're so used to putting significant dollars into fintechs? How about putting 2 and 2 together? What if I'm a fintech? And what if, because such a high use or adoption of social media platforms, could my fintech have a social media play or some sort of gamification associated with it? And therefore, because of those factors, I would launch in Latin America. Those are the types of things that I think about when I'm reading these resources, and why I share these resources with you, because they should help steer your strategy as you're thinking about opportunities for your business to grow, for your startup to grow, or even if you're like me and just like to invest, what are those opportunities coming out of those countries? Anyways, till next time, hope that helps. Hope you find your voice. Have a great day.